Good morning. My name is Beth Nickel, and I'd like to wish you a happy Friday. I'm with Arizona Science Center, and I am excited to be here to go over our parent resources with you this morning on Parent Resource Live. Those of you who have explored our lesson plans this week, your learners have been exploring different concepts related to chemistry. So our younger learners have spent the week investigating the three states of matter, which are solids, liquids, and gases, and doing different experiences with those. So today they're going to continue their exploration of the three states of matter, and they're going to investigate what happens when new variables such as temperature are introduced. Today's lesson will be a lot of fun, and it's going to involve some cooking in the kitchen. There's always a lot of chemistry in the kitchen. So our older students spent time investigating the physical and chemical properties of the states of matter. So they, earlier in the week, they explored the periodic table of elements, of the atomic structures of different elements and compounds. So today they're going to do something super exciting, and they are going to actually explore a PhET simulation. And they're going to really investigate and hopefully discover the answer to what does the number of atoms bonded or the type of bonds they have create effects on the shape of a molecule. So earlier this week, if you were with us, Jessica introduced a strategy called KWL. KWL is a great way to kind of help learners keep their thoughts in one place. And I know Jessica showed a chart, and she also suggested using the notebook, the science notebook, as a way to organize their thoughts. So with the KWL, and I'll kind of show mine right here, you've got different sections. So you've got the K, which is what it is that you, the K is what it is that you already know about a particular topic or subject. The W is what is it that you want to learn? What questions do you have? The H, because we kind of introduced a whole nother little section on this, the H is how are you going to find the answers to that? And then the L, of course, is going to be about what it is that you've learned. So this week, as your learners have gone through the lessons, hopefully before you began actually digging in really deep, you were able to work with your child to really sit there and have them think about what do they already know about solids, liquids, and gases. So this was just one that I very quickly brainstormed. So, I knew the three states of matter, and I could give an example of each one. So this is what I knew basically before I actually started in my learning. So thinking about the different states of matter, I started posing questions. What is it that I want to learn about the states of matter? And so maybe at the very beginning, I did not have an understanding of how ice was made. How do I go from water to ice when I put this water in the freezer? So maybe that was a question that I have. Maybe it was a question one of your learners also had. But then as I started learning more about the states of matter, I started thinking about why does the water level in my pool seem to go down during the summer? So that was a question that I pondered. And then how was I going to learn them? How was I going to go about finding the answers to my questions was what I put under the house. So maybe it was doing experiments, or maybe it was doing some research on the internet. And then really looking at what we've learned. What is it that we've learned throughout the experiments and the different learning throughout the week? So, I learned that cold temperatures, the temperature of the water will really affect whether it stays in that liquid form or moving over into that solid form as ice. And maybe I learned about the concept of evaporation when I did some research about my pool. So now, one thing to remember about KWL is that it is an ongoing process. So as I learn new things that I now know, that might have me think about new questions that I have. And then, of course, with those questions, as I use my resources to help me learn them, then I can move them over into my learned category. So this is an iterative process. It goes around and round and round, because the more that you actually know about a topic, hopefully that will help generate additional questions you have about that topic. And then again, you can go on and finish filling out the chart. So another thing to think about this is, we introduced this during this week of lessons, but you can use this same format, and you probably do, just not in a written format, written down format, but with any kind of a new hobby that you're learning. So during this pandemic and all this fun time that we've had at home, I decided to learn how to sew. I wanted to make masks for my families. So as I was sitting, and I didn't make a new chart, so I apologize, but as I was thinking about it, what did I know was, I knew that I had used a sewing machine back in middle school, some 35 years ago. I knew that that you had to have a pattern. I knew that you had to have certain things like thread and things like that. I had a whole lot of questions. How do I thread the sewing machine? How do I make how do I make things go straight on the lines when I'm attempting to sew, etc. So then I had to figure out how I was going to learn the answers to those questions. And I will say I spent a lot of time on YouTube and on the internet watching videos. And then now, what I could fill in on my learned is that a couple different things. I learned how to actually thread the sewing machine again. I learned the really cool little trick that this particular sewing machine I have has to help you thread the needle, because I was having a difficult time with my glasses. But lots of things. And as I'm continuing to work, I will have more and more opportunities to continue filling out my KWL chart, whether I do it here in a formal piece of paper, which is actually really good for learners, because it helps them to really think about and reflect on what they've learned when they can fill out this learned column. But it can be done mentally as well, for those of us who are wanting to start in with a new hobby that we want to do. So next week, I want to introduce you to what we're doing next week. So next week is all about the maker mindset. So just like I was talking about, trying to solve a problem for a need that I have, we're constantly taking ideas and things, and we are tweaking them in order to meet our needs. So if you have a need, you look at what you have and you try to think about a solution for that. So next week, our learners are going to really focus in on and really learn about the process of making and how to follow that engineering design process. So they're going to be leading throughout the course of the week through the prototyping and using the engineering design process, perseverance, going through prototyping each day. They're going to be doing hands-on activities and design challenges that will help them to really build something throughout the whole week. So in our young learners, they are using books and literacy to work through design challenges each and every day. And our older learners are really going to be looking at Kane's Arcade, So, and they're going to work through the engineering design process to build their own arcade or carnival game. So I hope you will join us as we walk through our lesson plans next week. As you know, as you might know, if you've been with us before, we offer these live Facebook parent resources every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And on Monday, we usually introduce the new theme and go through some of the tips and tricks as far as working with your children at home on these lesson plans that we provide. On Wednesday, we kind of look at what's going on in the middle, and we introduce a strategy to use with your learner at home. And then on Friday, we do a wrap-up and preview for the next week. If you're not familiar with where to find our lesson plans, you can find them on our website at azscience.org. And you will find we've got different sections on our website. We've got pages for parents, pages for educators, and pages for students. And amongst all of those resources we have, there are lots of different videos, DIY activities, and of course, these lesson plans that you can use with your children at home. So again, thank you for joining us today. I hope you have a fantastic Friday and a fantastic weekend. Try to stay cool outside. Well, yeah, try to stay cool, but enjoy the outside. How does that sound? And we will see you next week.